So there are 4 attachment styles. So there's secure
yeah.
attached, which is in theory the best, and it sets you up for the most success in relationships. So there's that secure attachment. Then there's an anxious attachment style. So they tend to feel more insecure in their relationships. They need constant reassurance from their parents. That may be as a child, if you would go up to your parent and, you needed something and they wouldn't listen, and you kept saying like, mom, and asking. And not that our parents were none of our parents were totally attentive at all times. And I think that's important to say. No one has a perfect childhood, right? And you can have the best childhood of all time and still not come away unscathed, because we're fallen people and we're raised by fallen people. So that anxious attachment style tends to lead to insecurity, but still close. Like they still want to be with the other person, but they're just insecure about the way that they're doing it. People with an avoidant attachment style tend to avoid forming close romantic relationships, especially they have that fear of intimacy, that fear of commitment, very protective of their independence, and like this feeling like I can do things the right way and I can do it on their own, and oftentimes will kind of push other people away. That's like the classic growing up, the individual who would say, okay, well, it's just better if I do it on my own. It's better if I don't ever have to ask anyone. It's better if I don't ever have to learn to rely on anyone else, because I can't rely on someone else. And sometimes it's just one experience with a parent where you ask them for something and they weren't able to give it. And then that becomes like the thing, because it happened at a formative age. It's kind of embedded deep in our brain there. And then the last one is fearful avoidant. That's kind of a mix of, it's the disorganized one. So it's a mix of the anxious and the avoidant. And that's really a blend of the anxious avoidant. Sometimes I'll be really close. Sometimes I'll be really far. A lot of times individuals who have experienced like a super capital T trauma early in age, like a death or divorce, this will be more what they do, because they kind of had to be different things at different times. So how we relate to our earliest caregiver is then likely how we relate to our siblings, our teachers growing up, our friends, and then becomes, especially for people in romantic relationships, how we relate to them, but also how we relate to our friends and how we relate to God. And I think that's, and of course, if we grew up like struggling in relationship with our own earthly father, then how the heck are we going to enter into a secure attachment with our heavenly Father? And I think it's crucial. And in these things, knowledge is power. None of these things define us. We are not defined by any of these moments in our past relationship, any of our tendencies or our propensities. Because of course, as we grow in grace, but I think it's important for us to know that attachment style becomes kind of our lowest common denominator. So when we're struggling, when we're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, sick, we kind of default then back to that previous attachment style.